The WNBA thought they could just track down Sophie Cunningham and call it quits. However, this is where things become even stranger. They did not receive the memo. Cunningham turned a $400 fine into a multi-million-dollar gain. You heard right. Cunningham just embarrassed the WNBA. She is now drawing attention to the injustice that they have been begging them to ignore. How did she accomplish that? In a league where referees have allegedly disregarded Clark's relentless targeting, Cunningham took matters into her own hands during a heated game against the Connecticut Sun. Her antics provoked a massive eruption and sent fans into a frenzy. You won't believe the outcome, but Cunningham became an Indiana Fever legend overnight. This is the story of how a single hard foul changed the game, exposed the WNBA's officiating flaws, and made Cunningham a household figure while the league battles with its own issues. Like LeBron James and Stephen Curry, Caitlyn Clark is more than just a player. She is the WNBA's lifeblood, albeit with far more influence. This is the moment when everything changes. During her debut season in 2024, Clark was accountable for an astounding 17% of all severe foul calls in the WNBA. A ridiculous number that illustrates how often she was singled out. Isn't that ridiculous? Data collected from WNBA game records shows that, despite playing in just 40 games, Clark was the target of 12 of the league's 70 flagrant fouls. This season, the level of physicality hasn't dropped. Events like Kennedy Carter's body check and Deny Carrington eye poke in 2024 set the atmosphere. In 2025, Clark continues to get uncalled touch and harsh criticism, which infuriates fans and commentators. But what comes next is quite insane. During the 2024 playoffs, there was one particularly brutal moment when Carrington's eye poked, briefly sidelining Clark and leading to the Fever's first-round loss to the Connecticut Sun. In June 2025, Clark missed a string of games due to a minor injury that was purportedly related to the accumulated physical toll and its consequences. They were cruel. A kick claims that during her absence, the WNBA had a 55% drop in viewership, with Clark's games drawing an average of 9.9 million people, now drawing less than 4.5 million. Ticket sales followed suit, with Sportico projecting a 30% drop in attendance for games other than Clark in locations such as Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Here's why this is important to you. In addition to making the Fever worse, Clark's absence demonstrated how reliant the WNBA was on her notoriety. Unlike LeBron or Curry, who shared the NBA's spotlight with other great players, Clark is the sole factor driving the W's current rise in popularity. However, they aren't telling you this. The assertion that the WNBA's growth is being driven by its 2024 rookie class or skill pool as a whole is a journalistic fabrication. The information is clear-cut. In 2024, Clark's ESPN club, The Fever, was featured in 18 of the 21 WNBA games with over 1 million viewers, despite drawing huge audiences for her bouts against rivals like A.A. Wilson and Angel Reese. Interest waned without Clark. The WNBA's $200 million annual media deal and its 170% rise in viewership in 2024 are mostly her fault. Furthermore, that is really the beginning. Opponents see Clark as the W's golden goose, since no other sport has a single player with such an excessive amount of power. At this point, things start to get dangerous. Sophie Cunningham, a 28-year-old guard, joined the Fever from the Phoenix Mercury in a parade in February 2025. Cunningham, often known as Spicy Sophie and renowned for her tough play, has been promoted to in-court protector for Clark. On June 17, 2025, after a heated match against the Connecticut Sun, this status was solidified. And this is where everything completely goes awry. After prodding Clark in the eye, JCS Sheldon of Connecticut, a longtime rival from Clark's Big Ten days, began a pushing war with the Fever, winning 88-71 in the last minute. Sunyard Marina Mabra then exacerbated the incident by pushing Clark to the ground. Referees awarded Sheldon a flagrant foul, which was barely enough to deter him, while Tina Charles and Clark Maver earned technical fouls. However, here is the bit that no one saw coming. After growing frustrated with the officials' lack of action, Cunningham decided to take matters into her own hands. With 46 seconds left, she landed a hard fall on Sheldon. then wrapped her arms around the Sunnerd and yanked her to the ground. The play led to a bench-clearing fight between Cunningham, Sheldon, and Suns' Lindsay Allen. The WNBA responded by fining Cunningham $400 for her egregious 2 fouls and an additional, undisclosed amount for her role in the fight. "Even though we know it costs $400, she told ESPN. "What if I told you that's not the worst part?" Without showing regret, Cunningham told reporters, "It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting the WNBA star player. Therefore, protecting my allies will be my ultimate objective." Her coach, Stephanie White, agreed and chastised officials for becoming agitated. This was bound to happen, it seemed. The most ridiculous part is that it's totally accurate. Cunningham's actions received positive feedback from fans who were fed up with Clark's treatment. Social media posts about X went viral, calling her a heroine and the enforcer for calling out the WNBA's officiating flaws. Sophie Cunningham became a legend after cautioning the WNBA not to interfere with Caitlyn Clark. The game has begun. Her violent outburst wasn't only a reprisal. It was an announcement. If the referees don't, Cunningham will defend Clark. You should also pay close attention to this area. Her black taekwondo belt, which she earned at the age of 6, lends credence to her enforcer persona. On the court, she exudes strength.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season.
This is where things start to become really interesting. The WNBA's officiating has come under fire, particularly in relation to Clark. Even though he didn't play as often as veterans like Wilson or Breanna Stewart, Clark was the player with the most flagrant fouls, 12, in 2024. This season, Clark has been flagged for uncalled contact in nearly every game, maintaining the trend. A Washington Post report claims that the WNBA is a violent and physical league because referees routinely fail to call fouls on aggressive plays. In support of Cunningham's action, renowned analyst and Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammon said, "People are tired of getting hit, and there's too much grabbing, bumping, and fouling that goes uncalled."
This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their team.
But the vast majority of people completely ignore this. Other than officiating, the WNBA appears hesitant to support Clark. This core issue is connected to the league's culture. Even though veterans like Alyssa Thomas and John Phil Jones have received citations for serious fouls on Clark, the severity of the penalties varies. Kennedy Carter's 2024 body check, for example, was just examined and punished severely without being suspended. The league's silence has reinforced the notion that Clark, a rookie sensation, is being hounded by veterans and is not getting any protection from officials. And hold on, if you think that's awful, Sun coach Rish Mazain called Cunningham's bird rude and stupid. Supporters and analysts, however, argue that the real disrespect is the WNBA's unwillingness to safeguard its most valuable asset.
Has continued their decline without the assistance of the Root from Waterloo. First off, credit where credit is.
However, this is the most important part. Clark's impact on the WNBA cannot be compared. In 2024, her games attracted an average of 9.9 million viewers, a 170% increase over the league's total of 5.8 to 8 million, according to ESPN. 90% of the Fever's home games sold out, and her attendance boosted league-wide ticket sales by 30%. Sportico claims that when Clark missed games in June 2025, the W's ratings fell by 55% and non-Fever game ticket sales declined sharply. At that point, things started to go out of control. This dramatic contrast shows that Clark, not the rookie class or more seasoned players like Wilson, is the star. Posts on X that state, "Without Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA would be nothing," lend more credence to this. The ratings dropped when she wasn't there. She is more important to the NBA than LeBron was. And by the conclusion of this, you'll understand why this is so important that Clark's influence extends beyond data. Her WNBA salary of $76,535 is dwarfed by her $28 million Nike contract and $11 million endorsements, highlighting the league's compensation disparity. Even in its most profitable season, the WNBA's $40 million deficit in 2024 serves as a stark reminder of its financial fragility. Clark's ability to fill arenas and increase media agreements makes her indispensable. However, because of the league's poor officiating, she and her followers might grow apart. There's going to be a dramatic twist, so stay put. It becomes even less likely at this point. Cunningham's brief rise to prominence came with a $400 punishment. In the 48 hours following the Sundame, she gained 350,000 Instagram followers and 1.2 million TikTok followers, for a total of 730,000 Sportigo followers. Fans said that when her number 8 Fever jersey sold out in a few days, restocks will not be available until July 8, 2025. STN Digital, a marketing firm, estimates that gaining 1 million followers across several platforms would cost a company over $1 million. Furthermore, Cunningham-sponsored articles, which were worth $10,000 apiece before, might now earn $20,000. The fact that we have only just started is the finest part. Cunningham's rise is similar to that of Kate Martin's, who sold more jerseys than Wilson in 2024. Despite her inexperience and low stats, Clark's co-workers benefited from her halo effect, but Cunningham's enforcer role has made her more attractive. With 141,000 likes and 1.2 million views on one post, X gained the nickname National Treasure from her admirers. It is anticipated that her collaborations with Adidas and Quest Nutrition will expand, and she might soon sign contracts that will raise her off-court earnings to millions of dollars. But wait, this is the most important part. As seen by her social media success and jersey sales, Cunningham is leveraging Clark's notoriety in a way the WNBA hasn't been able to, despite the league's $40 million 2024 loss. That's when I made a surprising discovery. A petition with 388 signatures called for Cunningham to be kicked out of the WNBA for her unsportsmanlike conduct. But while people rushed to the defense of Clark, the criticism only helped to improve her reputation. The wisest investment ever was Sophie Cunningham's $400 fine at Cunningham's lip-syncing of Selena Gomez's Hands to Myself, and her jeggings had been sold out, according to one previous user. Fitness celebrity Joey Swole's legend and the unexpected ending were among the 1.2 million views and comments on the WNBA's TikTok tribute to the tragedy. It's not what everyone expected. Her commitment to Clark, which turned a fine into a windfall, has made her a fan favorite. Things start to become worse at this stage. The WNBA's officiating issues and financial struggles indicate that the league is at a turning point. Its top player is not adequately protected, as seen by Clark's 17% egregious fall percentage in 2024 and continued targeting in 2025. Despite a season that set records, the league cannot afford to insult Clark or her fans, as seen by its $40 million deficit. However, based on what happens next, everything will be different. The narrative has evolved since Cunningham joined Clark's enforcer team. Her willingness to get her hands filthy makes a statement to the WNBA, like Cunningham, keep your players or stars protected. And if you think that's startling, wait until you see this. The Fever's 8-7 record as of June 2025 demonstrates their reliance on Clark, who averages 21.3 points and 8.7 assists each game. By keeping her safe, Cunningham improves the team's chances of qualifying for the playoffs by freeing Clark up to focus on her performance. Fans are fully behind Cunningham, as evidenced by her social media growth and item sales that have surpassed even Wilson's. At that moment, everything came together perfectly. Cunningham is laughing heartily as the WNBA tries to capitalize on Clark's celebrity, even though she was disciplined by the league. You ought to see this through to the end. Sophie Cunningham's $400 fine was a little price to pay for drawing attention to the WNBA's officiating flaws and securing her status as a fan favorite. I can assure you, BY standing up for Caitlyn Clark, she has become the enforcer the league didn't know it needed, turning a heated dispute into a multi-million-dollar opportunity. Compared to LeBron or Curry in the NBA, Clark's unmatched influence, which generates 55% of viewership and 30% of ticket sales, makes her the most valuable asset in the WNBA. And the truth is that this is just insane. Despite the league's best efforts to find her, Sophie Cunningham and Caitlyn Clark are the ones altering the rules. Who's laughing now? A new low was struck by the referee's gentle wrist-wringing response to Caitlyn Clark's hard foul. By the time Sophie Cunningham took matters into her own hands, the officials had lost control of the game, but they decided it had escalated too much. What are your thoughts on the WNBA referees? Will players ever change, or will they just pay the fines to get revenge? Kindly leave your ideas in the comment section below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates.